So we come to similar figures. And for similar figures, they need to have the same shape but different size. And we see two hearts here, one small and one big. And we call this similar figures because they have the same shape but different size. So to get the small heart to the bigger heart, we usually multiply by this thing called the multiplier, which also has the same meaning as scale factor. So scale factor and multiplier allows us to enlarge or reduce a size to get the second figure. First keyword is enlargement, which means that I'm enlarging something to make it bigger. From the small heart to the big heart, I am multiplying it by 2. 1 cm times 2 becomes 2 cm. So the scale factor here would be 2. This allows me to create an even bigger heart. The second keyword here is reduction, which means that I'm making it smaller. So from the big heart to become the small heart, usually people would say I'm dividing it by 2. But we cannot say that because scale factor is a multiplier. So what do I multiply to the big heart to get the smaller heart? I'll multiply by the fraction half. 2 times half will give me 1. Hence, the scale factor would be half. Let's look at some typical exam questions. Let's look at question number 1. It's given that triangle ABC is similar to triangle PRQ, and I want to find the values of my unknowns. When I'm given the first statement of similarity, what I'm going to do is to highlight the corresponding points. Here is my good habit of highlighting the corresponding points. For example, A corresponds to P, B corresponds to R, and C corresponds to Q. In this way, I can clearly find my X. My X, which is an angle, is 30. And angles do not change in similar triangles. Now, before we find out what's Y, I need to find out what is the multiplier. For example, if I look at 4 cm to become 6 cm, what will be the multiplier here? The multiplier is 3 over 2 or 1.5. So this tells me that to get from 2.8 cm to Y, I need to multiply by the multiplier 3 over 2. So Y equals to 2.8 times 3 over 2, which will give me 4.2. And that's the answer. For question number 2, try it yourself first before you scroll for the solutions. Number 1, I will label my corresponding points. And number 2, I will find what's my multiplier over here to get from one shape to the other. Let's try to find the scale factor. Pause this video for a while before I continue with the solutions. Now let's go to the question. I realize that my scale factor is 3 over 4. The scale factor will help me find the lengths, but I can do the angles first, which is much easier. My angle W will correspond to the angle 60 degrees. So W equals to 60. My X over here corresponds to the angle 100. Hence, my X would be 100. And now to find the rest of my lengths, Y and Z. So to get Y, I need to look at the corresponding length, which is 5.4. 5.4 corresponds to the length Y. To get from the small to the big, I need to divide by 3/4. The multiplier. So Y is 5.4 divided by 3 over 4, which will give me 7.2. And now to find Z, which corresponds to the angle 6, I can use the multiplier times 3 over 4. Hence, the answer is 6 times 3 over 4, which will give 4.5.